Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's What's Up Wednesday. My name is Rachel, and I'm on the client support team here at Early Learning Ventures. And today I am joined by Melissa Mares from the Colorado Children's Campaign. Thank you so much for joining us today, Melissa.
Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm really excited, and I love that we are kind of matching. We wore our green today. That's perfect. Melissa has some really great things to share with us today about the incredible work that the Colorado Children's Campaign is doing. But before we get started, I just wanted to thank everybody who is joining us live today. If you have not heard of Early Learning Ventures before, we are a 501c3 nonprofit based out of Colorado. And our mission is to expand access to quality and affordable childcare. I have links in the description of this video for where you can find our website to learn more about the various resources that we offer, and also to get a free demo of our childcare management system, Alliance Core. So if you are watching live with us today, again, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Please ask questions in the chat. This is a great time to ask questions and interact with us while we have Melissa live with us here today. We also have a special opportunity for our existing Alliance Core users, which is a chance to win a scholarship to use Alliance Core completely free for an entire year. So to participate, all you have to do is watch our weekly What's Up Wednesday videos. We are live every Wednesday at 1 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Excuse me, sorry. I'm losing my voice. So you just have to watch our videos and drop a comment answering the question of the week on either Facebook or YouTube. So either location that you're watching in, and even if you're not watching live, you can still comment to enter. Each comment will earn you an entry. So we encourage you to engage every week for more chances to win. And a winner will be selected at random after 7 weeks. So don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. This could save you anywhere from $300 to $1,200, depending on the size of your program. So for this week, we would love to know what you served for snack today. So please let us know in the comments section what you served for snack today. And if you are an existing Alliance Core user, we will put your name in the raffle, again, to use a scholarship, to win a scholarship to use the system for free for 1 year. All right, Melissa, are you ready? Can you start us off by introducing yourself and give us an overview of the Colorado Children's Campaign and your role within the organization?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, Rachel. My name is Melissa Mares. I'm the Director of Early Childhood at the Colorado Children's Campaign. And the Colorado Children's Campaign is a nonprofit, nonpartisan research, policy, and advocacy organization that's actually been around since 1985. Serving Colorado kids and families. And we do work in early childhood, which is why I'm here, but also across child and family health issues, youth success, which looks at the needs of youth from kindergarten through 12th grade, and family economic prosperity. So things like tax credits, income supports, housing supports, making sure that families can stay in their homes. I direct our early childhood policy and advocacy portfolio, which I really love doing. And I came to this role from the classroom. So I was, for 5 years, I taught 1 year first grade and 4 of kindergarten at a Spanish immersion school in Oregon. But I'm actually born and raised here in Denver. And I've always felt deeply connected to Colorado. My whole family is still here. So I was the kind of teacher that really I was never okay with the systems the way they were, with kids showing up in my class who were fluently reading at a 3rd grade level in kindergarten, and others who'd never ever played with another kid before. That just feels deeply wrong to me. It sets up families for inequitable outcomes. And I saw kids struggle. And I was often the one who's telling families like, oh, you didn't know this, but your kid actually already had to know how to hold a pencil. And to watch that shame hit them when it's not their fault that no one told them. We need to still build systems that provide those wraparound supports really from before birth.
Yeah, wow, that is really hard. You have that experience firsthand, and that's amazing that you're such an incredible advocate because you've experienced it.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's a key component of the way that we make policy is to make sure that that it really does take into account what families and children actually need.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're also a research and data organization. So we have significant focuses on looking at the numbers. How are kids doing? Where do they live? Where might they need extra support? So our policy work is really informed by all the kinds of data in any way that you can think about it. Quantitative data, qualitative data, so stories and lived experience, you name it, it should be in there for us to get the best possible outcome.
Awesome. Can you tell us more about how the Colorado Children's Campaign supports and advocates for children and families in Colorado?
Yeah, so we do our work primarily at the state level, but some local level advocacy and some federal level advocacy. But our state's legislative session, when our state lawmakers go to convene at the Capitol to make laws and continue programs, it runs for 120 days starting in early January through early May. So this is what's happening right now. And it's our main lever of change is building relationships with legislators, teaching them about what kids and families need if they don't already know. Turning to data and to our communities to look for solutions to problems that folks are facing. Also, sometimes that means defending against bad ideas that would hurt kids. But it is our primary lever for change is state legislation. So passing bills at the state legislature to improve programs and services for kids and families.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then what specific support is offered for early childhood educators?
This is a great question. I think that Colorado is a really fantastic example nationwide for their approach towards better supporting the field. But I think if anyone who's listening, who's in this job, knows how hard it is, both like mentally, physically, emotionally, all of the things.
Yeah.
That we as a society don't recognize early childhood, but I would say like really any kind of care for children of any age as an essential service. It's oftentimes diminished. It's work at childcare is done disproportionately by women and women of color. And so it's oftentimes diminished because like, oh, that's just what the woman does, or it's just not as important to us. And so we've done a lot with the tools that we have, and we need to do more. During the pandemic, the federal government sent millions and millions of dollars to states to try to prop up the childcare industry, because they recognize what many folks on this call probably already know, is that like parents can't go to work, the economy can't move forward without childcare.
Yeah.
And our state did some really amazing things with that money, investing it in as impactful a way as possible in things like emerging and expanding grants, scholarships for providers, looking at like employer-based childcare, and could employers start to get involved in expanding and supporting the industry. There's a lot there. The challenge though is that the industry as a whole in Colorado and nationwide is not funded the way it should be. We all know it's a public good. If families with small children know it's a public good, they couldn't do anything else without childcare. But it's not funded as such. And so this is really both a state level and a federal need, is more support, more funding. You should be able to thrive in this as your career. And we know that right now providers can oftentimes barely make ends meet, and that just is deeply wrong.
Yeah. What about those outside of Colorado? How can they benefit from the resources and expertise provided by Colorado Children's Campaign? Or is there any federal funding resources that you can share about?
Yeah, so the federal appropriations process is also cyclical. And by appropriations, I mean when the federal government decides on the federal budget. The state is actually currently debating the budget as well. For example, this week, the budget, which is called the Long Bill, is being debated in the Senate. So they're diving deep into what priorities should be funded and why. And so I would say there are two important things to follow: the state budget process and the federal budget process. Federally, it's interesting. We have had, I think, a challenge making the case for early childhood as being a nonpartisan issue. It's everyone's issue. You either rely on care yourself or you rely on someone who does.
Yeah.
So there is a balance between advocating for higher investments in early childhood and defending against cuts. I would say that Colorado is on the forefront. There's a small handful of other states who are consolidating early childhood programs and services into a single state department or state division. And we are one of the states that most recently did this. There are a lot of best practices and lessons learned at our state level that can be shared. We've also been really lucky to learn from our neighbors, like the folks down in New Mexico have been really gracious with their time. But really, the community of advocates across the country is one that I feel lucky to be a part of.
Yeah.
So very connected, very supportive.
Good. That's awesome. Can you share any examples of the impact that the Colorado Children's Campaign has had on early childhood education policies, the programs and outcomes in Colorado?
Yes, there's some huge ones. I think before I get started, I should say that we really stand on the shoulders. We're here today because of the work that folks like the founders of the Children's Campaign, who I will mention, Anna Jo Garcia Haynes by name. Anna Jo is in many ways seen as like our original early childhood advocate in the state. And so she and others blazed the trail that we're now on, able to make more wins, building the narrative for this is not just sort of the mom's thing or the woman's thing. I would also say, but I wanted to say that before I get to our list of wins.
Yeah.
We have invested more state money in the Child Care Assistance Program, or CCAP, which is our state's child care subsidy program for families who are at low incomes, who are working or going to schools, make sure that they have care to be able to still work or go to school. Full day kindergarten and universal preschool are huge recent wins that we've been deeply involved in. But none of that happens alone. There's so many other key advocacy partners in the state that have really made this possible. And I would also argue that we have a statewide Department of Early Childhood because of the families who spoke up when we were very first talking about Proposition EE in 2020. And they said, you can't just give me one more application to manage when I'm dealing with all the other applications. And each of them have different deadlines and different reporting requirements, and they're impossible to keep straight. We were lucky to have people who were courageous enough to tell their stories. And then we're also lucky enough to have leaders like folks in the legislature and the governor who actually listened and said, you're right, just doing preschool is not good enough. So I would say nothing happens alone. So we're deeply grateful to be in partnership here on this important work.
That's huge. And that's a great point you have there. This is all happening, collectively as an incredible team. What strategies does the Colorado Children's Campaign use to reach a diverse audience and to ensure that its resources and services are accessible to all?
That's a great question. We have an awesome communication team. So I'd say, absolutely communication is key to the success of advocacy. I would also say, we're working across different modalities of communication. So we've got social media. We do a podcast called The West Step. There are definitely some really great episodes specifically about early childhood, but it crosses across all of our buckets of work. I would also say that we do our work in coalition. Like I said, none of this happens alone. And policy should sort of, in my opinion, never be made by sort of the lawmakers without input from the people that they represent, the people who need this policy to be able to go to work or school, the people who are having trouble finding or affording childcare. And so coalitions, we have several that are supporting our early childhood work. Raise Colorado touches on the needs of infants, toddlers, and their caregivers. And then we have Growing Our Future, which is, I'd say, a fairly ambitious coalition, looking at where can we find new revenue for childcare? We need to stop sort of existing in this environment of scarcity and think a little bigger and bolder. And so both of those tables are really fun. They help me stay motivated and inspired to do this work. So that's key as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I feel like we could be here all day talking about this. There's so much to unpack here. I'm going to put the link to the Colorado Children's Campaign webpage in the chat or in the comments here. So for anyone watching who wants to learn more, they can reach out through the website. And then I also have Melissa's contact information in the description of this video. If you have any questions, do you have any final thoughts to leave with us today, Melissa?
I would just say, really appreciate everyone who's in this field in any capacity, because this is, I think, one of the most powerful ways to make impacts for kids. And I would say, if it's okay with you, Rachel, if there's a way to add my email address to this recording when it goes live, would really encourage folks to reach out to me, because I don't know that we are going to be successful as an organization alone. And I feel deeply about connecting people who are in this field to our systems that are making change. Our policy systems don't always feel accessible or welcoming. And so that's part of how I see our role at the Children's Campaign is to change that, to be a coach and a supporter for anyone who's interested in getting involved.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. I mean, that is such a huge part of this work, right? We need that support system and to all come together to work together. I'm going to add your email to the comments here, but I do also have it in the description of this video as well. So anyone watching can reach out there.
Yeah, thank you.
So thank you so much for joining us today, Melissa.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, for watching live. Sorry, I cut you off there, but that was a great point. Yeah, there's no question too small.
There isn't. And yeah, I really appreciate you. Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah, thank you, everybody who joined us live today, or even if you're watching later, thank you so much. Please don't forget to click the links in the description of the video so that you can learn more about both Early Learning Ventures and the Colorado Children's Campaign and the incredible work that you're doing. Also, don't forget about the opportunity to win a scholarship to use Alliance Corps completely free for 1 year. So for this week, we would love to know what you served for snack today. So all you have to do is let us know in the comments section what you served for snack today. And if you are an existing Alliance Corps user, we will put your name in that raffle. So be sure to watch all of our future videos and join us live every Wednesday at 1:00 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Bye. Thank you.